Hello, welcome to Sound and Fury Book Reviews. As usual, I'm Tina. Today I'm doing my wrap up for the year, which is my book awards. So I'm just going to talk about my favorite books of the year, and I've given them all a different award. Unfortunately, the December reads get kind of the short end of the stick at this time of year because I don't do like a real wrap up for them because I have too many other things to do in December. But my favorite book I read in December was How to Lose a Goblin in 10 Days, which, if you checked out my review, you'll know that I thought that book was so much fun. So before we get into the award ceremony, here are my favorite books I read each month. I figured I would tell you this. So we have Grave Empire for January, Idle Fire for February, The Expert of Federal Revisions for March, The Country Under Heaven for April, Bisection for May, The Devils for June, The Homecoming for July, House of Monstrous Women for August, Terms of Service for September, Still for October, Titan's Day for November, and December was, as I said, How to Lose a Goblin in 10 Days. So those books were my favorite books of the month. There were some books, though, that I really loved as well that I didn't get a chance to include in the favorites of the month because they came out at the same time. One of them I got for Christmas because I asked for it, which was Death on the Caldera. I really liked Death on the Caldera. I think I read it the same month that I read The Devils. And, I mean, The Devils, where is it? I thought I had it. Oh, I do have it. The Devils is one of my favorite books of the year. I don't know why I piled them up. I could just include them up here. But anyway, we'll see. Okay, so now I'm going to get into my awards part of the ceremony. So what I've done is I've picked 3 books from each kind of category, and then I'll tell you which one won 3 of my favorites. So this way you're getting kind of a more of a breadth of books in the genre. So if there's ones that seem interesting to you, you can check out my review of them, or you can just check them out online or wherever you want. So there were 4 books, though, that I was absolutely obsessed with that I had to struggle to kind of, because they were all fantasy, and they were all different kinds of fantasy. So I was like, but I'm not going to give them each like a subgenre and kind of win. Like, I'm not going to give Grave Empire epic fantasy or whatever. So anyway, the books that I was obsessed with were Terms of Service. I loved this one. Then Grave Empire by Richard Swan. This book was great. I got an arc of this too. They gave it to me, I think, because it's all damaged. And then, of course, The Devils. Absolutely loved this book. That was so funny. And where'd the other one go? Oh, and Idle Fire, which I don't have a copy of because I don't really buy hardcover very often, except apparently, unless it's The Devils. So, yeah. So, I kind of had to be creative to fit these all into categories so they would win an award because I really wanted to highlight them, but I also couldn't be like, they all win the fantasy award. So, let's go. Sci-fi. So, the 3 sci-fis that were in the running for this were Terms of Service, Bisection, which I'll just put it up here, and Cosmic Widow by Jonathan Navarre. I really loved all 3 of these, and I gave it to Terms of Service, which is more of a fantasy sci-fi, but it has enough sci-fi elements in it that I think it fits. Fantasy, this one actually has multiple, so I'm just going to list them off. So my favorite fantasies of the year were The Devils, Idle Fire, Terms of Service, No Country Under Heaven, Death on the Caldera, and Grave Empire. These ones were all fantastic. They're all 5-star reads for me. I'm going to give it to Idle Fire because these ones have awards somewhere else. Next, we have horror. There were 3 that I really, really liked. I wasn't obsessed with any of the horror that I read this year. Like sometimes, like last year it was an obvious one, but this one is just like, I don't know, Blood on Your Tongue I really enjoyed, but I think because I loved My Darling Dreadful Thing so much that I went into it with too high expectations, even though it's still a 5-star read for me. I wasn't blown away by it. House of Monstrous Women, I really enjoyed that. I didn't love it. And same with The Witch of Willow Sound. I thought that one was really cool. And I'm giving it to The Witch of Willow Sound because, well, it's Canadian, and I just really love the concept. And when I'm thinking back, I'm like, that one had the most interesting kind of stuff for me personally. So that's the one I pick. Lit fic or contemporary fiction, I kind of conflated these. So there were 5 I put here because I conflated them. So The Names, I really enjoyed that. I thought it was fantastic. I think that it's worth the hype. The Island of Last Things, I thought this was really interesting. It's kind of sci-fi-ish, I guess, but it's more like it's like the furthest, or like on the spectrum of sci-fi, like the furthest from actual sci-fi. Still, which was a Canadian one, and then Trust, which won the Pulitzer Prize, and then Beartooth. And I'm going with Beartooth because that one really resonated with me, and I thought it was absolutely fantastic. And I thought all of these books were really, really good, but that one for me wins the award. Then we have romance. I didn't read a ton of romances. I think I only read four. I only read three. So here's the three of them. There's How to Win a Goblin in 10 Days, or Lose a Goblin in 10 Days. Direct Descendant, which was like a cozy horror romance. And then Tusk Love. Obviously, it's going to the Goblin one because the other two I only gave like 3 stars. Classic sci-fi. We don't need to argue about this one. It's Polymath. This book is fantastic. Amazing book. Then we have my favorite title of the year, which is always kind of a fun one because it's like, ooh. So we have Eminence Front, also a great song. La Villa, Once Beloved, and The Artificial Structure Known as the Moon. I'm obviously giving it to The Artificial Structure Known as the Moon because that is the best title I've ever heard, other than We All Died at Breakaway Station. The best cover of the year. So there's 4 of them here. So we have The Island of Last Things. I just think that's such an evocative, interesting image. I love when books are based on paintings. Death on the Caldera, which I have. I'm going to show you because it's got the gold. It's really cool. The gold really fits with like the theme of the book because it's very much a golden age kind of story. Fantasy though. Brighter Than Scale, Swifter Than Flame. Just so cool. Like it's a book you can just like stare at forever. And then we have The Buffalo Hunter, which wins hands down because that cover is just so evocative and so just like, just the eyeballs just staring at you. Then we have my favorite novella. So this is between Mapping the Interior by Stephen Graham Jones as well. Brighter Than Scale, Swifter Than Flame, which I really enjoyed. And Tusks of Extinction. And it's going with the Tusks of Extinction because this book, it was just so harrowing and it was so fascinating too. And I really liked how it was written in just like a kind of just a weird kind of literary style. I thought it was really, really good. I really loved it. And then we have the best couple. So this is a couple that I shipped. So we have Terms of Service. Ship them so hard. The Expert of Subtle Revisions. Just a heartbreaking, beautiful love story. Bisection, yes, an alien human romance, of course. And The Devils. I shipped Baptiste and Balthazar so much. But I'm going with The Expert of Subtle Revisions because it was just like such a lovely story. Anyway. Favorite first not in a series. I'm not even gonna list this one. It's Titan's Day, if you couldn't expect it. I love these books. And I finally got the third one. You can see it sitting right there. I'm gonna read it when I'm in Mexico at the end of January, so that'll be fun. My favorite first in a series. I didn't even list another one for this one. I just have Great Vampire. I mean, it could easily also go to The Devils, but we're going with Great Vampire in this one. Favorite actual ship, and by that I mean a boat. So we have the ship from The Wager, called The Wager. We have the ship from Idlefire, because the prow of the boat in that made me die. It was so fun. And we have the boat from No Country Under Heaven, which is a ship that's not on the water, and it's really cool. The scene, the kind of imagery in that scene was really, really interesting and fascinating. So I'm giving it to No Country Under Heaven, also so it can win an award because I really love that book too. I have it. Yeah. I got this one for Christmas too. So basically what I do for Christmas is we do like a Secret Santa with both sides of the family, my husband's side and my side. And so I just like go through my list of books I read this year and throw them on. My favorite audiobook of the year. So we've got 3. The Buffalo Hunter. I really liked that one. I thought it was fantastically done. Trust was really good, except I really hated that man's voice in the second one, but I mean, I think you're supposed to. And The Devils. So I'm giving The Devils the audiobook one, so it wins an award too. Best animal character. So we have 2. We have Time of the Cat, which is all of the cats in that were really fun. And then Spot, a little cockroach from the book Scurry. And I'm giving it to Spot because how could you make a bug cute? I don't know. It was so good though. And then we have the best house, like haunted house. So there's House of Monstrous Women. The house was wild. The Villa, Once Beloved, another Filipino house. And The Homecoming. I gave it to the House of Monstrous Women because that house was just so fascinating. It was like a labyrinth and it was constantly moving. And it's just like the way that it was kind of incorporated into the story. I just thought it was really well done. The horniest book. There were 2 horny books this year that were very horny. One was Tusk Love. That book was overly horny. And then Spread Me, which was just the right amount. So I'm giving it to Spread Me. The best like mindfuck book. There were 3. Mapping the Interior is a really good one for that. The Village at the Edge of Noon had that quality to it, and it's a book. It's funny because when I was reading it, I was like, it's like a 4-star read, 3.5. But like I keep thinking about it, so I would say it's in that category. But the one that really blew me away that I really, really enjoyed was The Unveiling, which is the one that was set in Antarctica. It's like a literary horror, and it's really fascinating. Then my favorite self-published book. So there was On Impulse. That one was really cool, kind of like anti-detective story. So there's like this woman on the run, but she's uncovering a mystery. And then Bisection, which I loved, and then Scurry, and it's going to Bisection, which I got for Christmas. Here it is. It's really pretty. So yeah, oh, white pages there. And then my favorite Canadian book. So there's 4. So The Origins of Desire and Orchid Fens. That one was really, really good. The Witch of Willow Sound, which obviously is not going because it won the horror book. Still. And then Mad Dog and the Sea Dragon. And I'm giving it to Still because that book was just really fantastic. For cozy books, I read 3 Brigands and Bread Knives, Automatic Noodle, and Recipes from an Unexpected Afterlife. And I'm giving it to Recipes because that book was just, it almost made me cry. And it was so nice. It was just like lovely. And it was also really fun. And I liked the world building. There was so much about that book I really enjoyed. The best world building, Death on the Caldera had a really great kind of golden age / fantasy with really interesting magic. Terms of Service also had fantastic world building. And To Bargain with Mortals, I really liked the political system in that because it was based on, it felt like it was based on the Canadian system. And I love politics, which I talked about in my review of that. But I'm giving it to Death on the Caldera because, as you can tell by the fact that I requested it for Christmas, I really enjoyed it. And also I gave Terms of Service to something else. And so we also have my favorite poetry collection. Of the 4 that I read, 1,000 Tiny Awakenings and Green were my top 2. And I'm giving it to 1,000 Tiny Awakenings. And the favorite poem was by Nicole Robitaille, and it's called Happiness is a Warm Dog. And I just thought this one, it sounds like it's like a cozy poem. It is not. But it's just like such a fantastic poem. And I know I'm not going to read it, I promise. Now, that's the end of my book awards, but I do have some other things that I want to share that I think are fun. First of all, some shout outs to some amazing people that are just like such great supporters of my channel, and I think you guys are awesome. And first is Tuffy, of course. Thank you for commenting on like almost every single one of my videos. I really appreciate it, and I love the support. We have a new person, Zubra Chodhar. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that's just your username. You say hi in every one of my videos recently, and I think that's really fun. So thank you so much for saying that. It kind of makes my day. And then Roro, thank you for following my channel this year. And thank you for always checking into the IBC videos. And of course, to Steph at Coffee Over Apples, who's so lovely. And I'm so glad that, I'm your friend. Hope I can call you that. Oh, and Eric too at Break Even Books. Eric, yeah, you know. So a couple other stats about my channel if you're interested. So my most watched videos this year, so Tusk Love got 300 views. That's pretty good. This is nothing compared to last year where I think my Keanu Reeves book got it's sitting at like over 1,000 views, which for me is wild. And I don't even look at this stuff usually. I look at it at the end of the year and I'm always like, oh my god, that video is tracking so well. Anyway, so Tusk Love got 300. The Road to Godrich got 550, which is shocking to me. I'm like, who's watching this? And then The Names actually wins with 682 views. I'm like, okay, I must have released this at just the right time. Or maybe people aren't doing a lot of video reviews about it. I don't know. My most liked video was Grey Vampire with 16 likes. Thank you, everybody. My most disliked, which is so funny because most of the time it's 2 dislikes and it throws off the whole algorithm. Tusk Love got 2 dislikes, which put it at 88% positive, but that's 15 likes and 2 dislikes. So really, who cares? And then same with Village. The Village at Noon is, for some reason, someone didn't like it, but that bumped it to 75% because there was only 4 likes on it. Same with Brigands and Bread Knives. Someone didn't like my review of that. I don't know why. And then Tusk Love is also my second most liked video, but it's also my most disliked video, which I think is, so it doesn't really, the fact that my channel is so tiny, these stats don't really matter. I just think they're kind of funny. Yeah, because I don't really, I don't read based on whether I hope I'm going to get a lot of views. I was kind of hoping that Keanu Reeves one would get me a bit more traction because I was so shocked that they approved me for it on NetGalley last year. And same with, I think, my review of, not the Sirens, the other one that she wrote, the witch one, I'm putting it up here. That one got a lot of views too, and I was like, oh. The book was already out for a while. Oh well. Anyway, thank you so much for checking out my book awards. Let me know in the comments what your favorite book of the year was. If you have more than one, list them out for me. I would love to get some more books to add to my never-ending TBR, and I promise I'll get to them someday. I do have all the books that are recommended to me in my channel, in my channel comments on a list somewhere. It's just like, oh my god, I need to stop requesting things on NetGalley. So yeah, so check out my stats video tomorrow where I talk about like the number of things that I read and like I break it down in kind of like a nerdy way. Yeah, so thanks.